Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled, A Long Day Comes to an End Beside Tama. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don and oppose. Like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. The day began the way many days do in our small home. Quietly, gently, and with Tama already awake before anyone else. While the sky outside was still pale and undecided between night and morning, Tama lay curled beside the bed, his breathing slow and steady, his ears twitching at the faintest sounds. He always seemed to know when the day was about to start, even before the alarm clock dared to ring. When I finally opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was Tama's face inches from mine. His eyes were wide, warm, and full of that familiar look, the look that said, "Good morning. I'm here. Let's begin." His tail thumped softly against the floor, careful not to be too loud, as if he understood that mornings should be respected. Getting out of bed was never rushed when Tama was around. He stretched in the slow, dramatic way only dogs can, front paws extended, back curved, as if he were practicing for a yoga class he never signed up for. Then he trotted toward the kitchen, pausing every few steps to make sure I was following. Breakfast was simple, coffee for me, kibble for Tama. Yet somehow, it felt ceremonial. Tama sat patiently, eyes locked on his bowl, refusing to move until I nodded. It was a small ritual, one we repeated every day, and it reminded me that trust is built through consistency. When I placed the bowl down, Tama wagged his tail like he had just won a prize, even though it was the same food as yesterday. After breakfast, we stepped outside together. The street was waking up slowly. A few neighbors sweeping their front yards, birds arguing loudly in the trees, the air still cool and forgiving. Tama sniffed everything with intense focus, as if the world had changed overnight and he needed to investigate every detail. Walking beside Tama, I realized how present he always was. No phone, no worries about what might happen later, no regrets about yesterday. Just this moment, this sidewalk, this shared silence. The morning didn't promise anything extraordinary, but Tama didn't seem to need promises. Being together was enough. The hours passed gently, shaped by ordinary tasks and unexpected smiles. While I worked, Tama claimed his favorite spot near the window. From there, he watched the world like a dedicated guardian, occasionally barking at passing motorcycles, occasionally sighing deeply when nothing interesting happened. At midday, when the sun grew stronger, Tama followed me around the house with renewed energy. He carried his favorite toy, a slightly torn stuffed animal that had clearly seen better days, and dropped it at my feet with purpose. This was not a suggestion. It was an invitation. We played, not for long, but long enough. Tama ran in small circles, slid slightly on the floor, and looked at me as if I were the most important person in the universe. In those moments, nothing else mattered. Work deadlines, messages, plans, they all faded into the background. Later, when the afternoon slowed down, Tama grew quiet. He lay beside me, his body warm against my leg, his head resting on my foot like it was the most natural pillow in the world. Occasionally, he would glance up, just to check if I was still there. I always was. As evening approached, we went out again. The light was softer now, painted in shades of orange and gold. Tama walked slower, sniffed longer, lingered beside familiar corners. It felt as though he was collecting memories, storing them somewhere safe. When we returned home, Tama drank water, ate dinner, and then curled up on his blanket. His eyes followed me as I moved around, tidying up, preparing for the night. He didn't need attention every second. He just needed presence. And as the sky darkened and the house grew quiet, Tama came closer. He rested his head on my knee, sighing deeply, the kind of sigh that says, "Today was long, but it was good." As the day finally came to an end, I realized something simple yet powerful. Life doesn't always need to be loud or extraordinary to be meaningful. Sitting beside Tama, feeling his steady breathing and quiet trust, I understood that the most valuable moments often go unnoticed because they are so ordinary. Tama doesn't measure his days by achievements or mistakes. He measures them by time spent together, by gentle routines, by the comfort of knowing he is not alone. And perhaps, that is a lesson worth carrying into our own lives. In today's fast-moving world, we are often distracted by screens, expectations, and endless plans. Tama reminds us to slow down, to appreciate small routines, to be present with those who share our space, whether they speak our language or not. If we learn to treat animals with patience, respect, and consistency, we also learn how to treat people better. Animals like Tama teach us empathy without words, loyalty without conditions, and love without demands. So when life feels overwhelming, take a moment to sit beside someone who trusts you, human or animal. Listen, breathe, stay, because sometimes a long day doesn't need fixing. It just needs to end beside someone who loves you quietly and completely.